Bum 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 bum. The Peter Dislike Show. Bum 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 bum. Well, I hope you had a good Halloween. And I say that because holiday seasons are very tricky for me, and this year is no exception. And I know why they are tricky for me because of my differences in way of life, and also three things that I'm a little bit lacking in that I hope to make for goals in the coming years and decades. And two of which I'm not doing that badly. One of them I'm doing really badly, but all of them, if I had more sway in, it could have made the holiday season very different. So I teach at a community college, and I often don't beat at the same wavelength as a lot of my colleagues, or even our students, or even just the community at large in the Phoenix area, greater Phoenix area, right? Because of my solo sexuality. I cannot hold romance with anybody. It has never gone well. And I've tried it many, many, many times, right? If I were Taylor Swift, I would never run out of stories to sing about, right? But you get the idea. But I still need acquaintances in my life. And unfortunately, a lot of people, when they have this date, they don't want to go on a multiple date when you're solo sexual, right? And so I'm going to have to find other avenues to find acquaintances in my life. I don't have that many close friends. If you asked me who I could trust my life with, I couldn't answer you on that, really. You know, I sometimes watch stories about investing in bismuth, and the idea is to hide it so that only one person you trust with your life will know where it is, just in case something were to happen to you. And that final warning always leaves a hole in my heart. It really does. It's very upsetting, and where it really hurts me is that a lot of times people then can't relate to me, so they think that, so what if you get all the shitty work, or if we don't give you a raise for 10 years. They don't say it like that, but you know that's what it is. So my first goal for the coming decade is to improve my connectivity with others by learning more about new things. Now, the other problem at work, and this isn't just specific to work, is that sometimes, because of my difference in life, when I find a job that works for me and people somewhat accept me for who I am, not 100%, but Phoenix College definitely accepts me a heck of a lot more for who I am, more so than previous jobs that I've taken, especially in comparison with the college I was teaching at when I was in Seattle, Washington, right? Washington Technology University, right? A lot of times I felt like I was a stranger squatting in there. It really did. You had a couple, husband and wife, both working there. The wife was working for the administrative team, and the husband was teaching there. You had most of them were married. And then COVID hit, which centered all around family life, right? That was a tough time for me, now looking back at it. And so I find this job that finally accepts me for who I am. I hold on to it for dear life. And it makes it hard to ask for anything, whether it be vacation days, class preferences. You get the idea, right? Even at the office, I just had a colleague asking for a specific office because he liked the window or whatever the situation is, right? I would never dare rock the boat on a job that finally works for me over such, right? So the additional acquaintances would help, but you know what else would help? Some financial security, right? If this job were just, do it until something else comes along, you don't need the money to pay the bills, I think I could handle a lot of things very, very differently, right? And money isn't just, it's not just specific to work stress, right? So right now I live in an apartment where I constantly have to worry about, I did, he moved out, but I had to worry about a roommate who would complain about little noises. 2 weeks ago, there's no way I could be sitting here at 11 o'clock recording a Peter Dislike show, right? He lives like down the hall, and so that's good. It almost feels, not having the financial flexibility to take risk, whether it be risking your job, risking your apartment, maybe having to move out. Not having the ability to take those risks almost feels like having a lead weight around your neck, right? Actually strike that. It's like having a polonium weight around your neck, right? Not only heavy, constantly burning you, giving you cancer, and it really is, right? And so, and then I was talking to a friend, and he said, well, what's the point? You're just saving your money for further down the road when you'll be too old to enjoy it. And that gets me to my third goal, which is to continue to keep my body young. See, I was talking to a coworker of mine about 9/11 and what we were doing, and he was surprised. He said you weren't even alive when 9/11 happened, which brought a huge smile to my face. So I'm only 22 years old in his eyes, and that's not an uncommon thing for me to hear. So I made a chart of my life over the next 7 years. So right now I got about 3 tons of bismuth. I hope to end the decade with 100 tons of bismuth. Currently street value about $1 million. And the reason for that is that not because I want to retire at the end of the decade, it's because I want to have some flexibility. So I just had an upsetting situation where I had a hard time asking for a certain day off. That was near and dear to me. Meanwhile, I see my colleagues take Halloween off to go trick-or-treating. And I saw another colleague take time off to attend to a aging family member and all that. Now, I gotta be fair. When I went to work anyway on the non-official holiday that I like celebrating, I actually had a good time at work, so it was bittersweet. Now, if I had 100 tons of bismuth in my war chest, I think I would still go to work on that day, now looking back at it. I might just not be so resentful anymore, because you know what, I can afford to do other things outside of work. Now, part of the reason I've been having a hard time making friends is that I often don't have the financial flexibility, can't always go to every event that I want to go to, right? And so that's the chart. It gets steeper and steeper as we go toward the end, because obviously as I accumulate more and I become more famous for my artwork, I'm buying bismuth and selling it for a good profit, buying more bismuth. And so my bismuth holding goes from 3 tons to 100 tons. My age goes from 22 down to 17. And I also make a lot of friends. Hopefully, at some point, there will be a critical mass, right, with the social connectivity. So in 2030, I'll be 17 years old. I'll have $1 million worth of bismuth. Actually, more by that point, probably. I'll have a lot of friends. I won't have any shortage of people to talk to and people to leave my bismuth to if something were to unexpectedly happen to me, right? And then I'll actually start living again. I'll probably start aging again, drawing down the bismuth, but I'll have a lot of friends, right? Anyway, 3 goals that I plan to have by the end of the decade, right? 100 tons of bismuth. I'll be 17 years old and I'll have a lot of connections, and I'll be able to choose my life partner out of those connections to leave my bismuth to if something were to happen to me unexpectedly. That is one bother sometimes. I don't plan to have any children. My younger brother loves to live life. He doesn't always eat the healthiest food, so I wouldn't be surprised if I outlived him, which is not necessarily a bad thing. He loves his life, don't get me wrong. But it makes me wonder where all my bismuth is going to go one day, right? This is the Peter Dislike Show. Bum 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 bum. The Peter Dislike Show. Bum 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 bum.